Staying ahead isn't just a choice, it's a necessity. The book you don't read won't help. If you want to get ahead, if you want to be the person who stands out from the crowd, you have to make learning a daily habit. It's not about being born with extraordinary talent. It's about the simple, powerful choice to learn and improve every single day. Think about it. Every day that you choose to learn, to grow, to invest in your knowledge, you're putting yourself ahead of 99% of people. Most people don't bother to develop themselves. They're comfortable with what they know, and they don't push for more. But you can be different. You can take control of your future by making learning a priority. It doesn't take hours or complex strategies. It just takes a commitment to grow, even if it's a small step each day. In this video, we're going to dive into the practical ways you can start educating yourself every day. We'll break down the habits, mindsets, and strategies that will help you stay ahead of the curve. Whether you're looking to advance in your career, improve your personal life, or simply become the best version of yourself, this is your blueprint. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear plan of action, real steps you can take today to start your journey towards success. Let's get started, and remember, the future belongs to those who are always learning. Chapter 1. The world rewards the learners and punishes the stagnant. You are either growing or you're dying. That's the brutal truth nobody wants to tell you. Life does not reward those who sit still, who wait for things to happen, who rely on their past achievements to carry them forward. No, the world belongs to those who adapt, who evolve, who never stop learning. The difference between those who thrive and those who struggle isn't luck. It isn't talent. It's the ability to continuously educate yourself every single day while the rest of the world chooses comfort over progress. Look around. The most successful people in the world, whether they are entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, or leaders, have one thing in common. They never stop learning. They are obsessed with growth, constantly feeding their minds, constantly upgrading their skills. Meanwhile, the average person graduates from school, gets a job, and stops actively learning. They think they've made it, but in reality, they've just started falling behind. They watch the world change around them, new technologies emerge, new industries rise, and they wonder why they're struggling to keep up. The truth is, the world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care if you don't have time to learn new skills. It doesn't care if you feel stuck in life. It will simply replace you with someone who is willing to put in the effort. Someone who is willing to educate themselves every day. Someone who refuses to be left behind. The people who make learning a daily habit become unstoppable. They become the ones who innovate, who create, who succeed while everyone else is still making excuses. Think about how much the world has changed in just the past decade. 10 years ago, social media was nothing compared to what it is today. AI was a distant concept, something only tech companies cared about. The job market looked completely different. Now AI is taking over industries, new careers are emerging, and people who refuse to adapt are getting left behind. Those who didn't take the time to learn about digital marketing, AI, automation, or coding are now struggling to find work. But the ones who stayed ahead, who educated themselves daily, are thriving. The biggest mistake you can make is believing that education ends when school ends. That mindset is the reason why so many people feel stuck. They follow the system, go to school, get a job, work for years, and then wonder why they're unhappy, why they feel lost. It's because they stopped growing. The moment you stop feeding your mind, you start declining. There is no standing still in life. You are either improving or you are falling behind. And falling behind in today's world is not an option. The scary part, most people don't even realize they're falling behind. They wake up, go to work, come home, and mindlessly scroll through social media or binge-watch TV shows. They don't read, they don't challenge themselves. They consume entertainment, but never education, and then they wonder why they're stuck in the same place year after year. It's because the world punishes stagnation. It quietly replaces those who refuse to grow. You have two choices. You can continue doing what 99% of people do, wasting time on distractions, refusing to learn, staying in your comfort zone, or you can make the decision to educate yourself every single day. The choice is simple. The results, however, are life-changing. Imagine where you could be in just 1 year if you committed to learning something new every day. Imagine how much more valuable you would become if you spent just 30 minutes a day improving your skills, expanding your knowledge, and developing your mindset. That's what separates the top 1% from the rest. And let's be real, there is no excuse. In today's world, learning has never been easier. You don't need to sit in a classroom. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on formal education. Everything you need is at your fingertips. You can read books, listen to podcasts, take online courses, watch educational videos, follow mentors. The resources are endless. But most people don't take advantage of them. Instead, they waste their time on distractions that add nothing to their future. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's how much effort you're willing to put into learning and growing. Every day that you choose to educate yourself, you are making an investment in your future. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every piece of knowledge you absorb, it all compounds over time. And the longer you stay committed to growth, the further ahead you'll be. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones you admire. Whether they are business leaders, athletes, artists or creators, they all have one thing in common: they never stop learning. They understand that the world belongs to those who evolve. The moment you think you know enough is the moment you begin to decline. The moment you stop educating yourself is the moment the world starts passing you by. So ask yourself, are you moving forward or are you falling behind? Are you making daily progress or are you stuck in the same cycle of mediocrity? If you're not actively learning, if you're not challenging yourself, if you're not feeding your mind, then you're already falling behind. But the good news, you can change that right now. You can decide at this very moment to make learning a priority. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to spend hours studying every day. Even just 30 minutes of focused learning can transform your future. Replace mindless scrolling with reading. Replace background noise with educational podcasts. Replace distractions with skills that will make you valuable. Small, consistent efforts lead to massive results over time. The people who educate themselves daily don't just stay ahead, they create the future. But here's the catch: the world is only getting faster. Technology is advancing. Industries are evolving. The demand for new skills is increasing. If you don't keep up, if you don't stay sharp, if you don't commit to learning every single day, you will be left behind. There is no other way to put it. The world rewards those who prepare for the future and punishes those who refuse to adapt. Now the question is, what will you do? Will you stay stagnant, hoping that things will somehow work out? Or will you take control of your future by educating yourself every day? Because make no mistake, the people who are willing to learn, grow and adapt will dominate the next decade. The ones who refuse will struggle. The choice is yours: stay stagnant and be left behind, or commit to daily growth and stay ahead of 99% of people. It starts today. It starts with a decision. The decision to pick up a book instead of scrolling. The decision to listen to a podcast instead of wasting time on nonsense. The decision to become the type of person who never stops learning. Because once you commit to that mindset, there is no limit to how far you can go. The world belongs to the learners. The world belongs to those who refuse to be left behind. Which one will you be? Chapter 2. The 24-hour knowledge formula. Every single day you're faced with a decision, whether you realize it or not. The decision to either improve or remain the same. The decision to either sharpen your mind or let it dull over time. The decision to either educate yourself or let the world outgrow you. This is not just about learning for the sake of it. This is about survival in a world that is evolving faster than ever before. Those who understand how to maximize their 24 hours, those who dedicate themselves to consistent knowledge growth, become unstoppable. And those who don't, they wonder why nothing in their life ever changes. Let's be real. The world does not slow down for anyone. It moves forward, and if you're not actively upgrading yourself, you're falling behind. Look at the people at the top of any field: business, sports, entertainment, science. They all have one thing in common: an obsession with learning. They don't just rely on what they learned years ago, they sharpen their skills, expand their minds, and stay ahead of the competition. And that's the key right there. The competition. Because whether you like it or not, life is competitive. Every industry is competitive. Every opportunity is competitive. You are either preparing yourself for success, or you're setting yourself up to be replaced by someone who did. The biggest lie people believe is that learning is something you do in school, and once you graduate, you're done. That's why so many people get stuck in the same job for years, never getting a promotion, never increasing their income, never breaking out of the cycle of mediocrity. It's not because they're not capable. It's because they stopped feeding their mind. They stopped growing. And the moment you stop growing, you start declining. You don't stay in the same place in life. You either get better or you get worse. And the ones who get better, they've mastered the 24-hour knowledge formula. They've figured out how to use their time in a way that puts them ahead of 99% of people. Think about this. Every person on this planet has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between someone who is highly successful and someone who struggles is not luck, not background, not intelligence. It's how they use those 24 hours. You could take two people with the same job, the same resources, and the same opportunities, but one of them will outgrow the other simply because they dedicate time to learning. While one person spends hours watching meaningless content, the other person is reading books, taking online courses, and absorbing knowledge that will make them more valuable. And over time, the gap between these two people becomes massive. If you want to separate yourself from the average, you have to start using your 24 hours differently. And no, I'm not talking about spending 5 hours a day studying. That's unrealistic for most people. What I'm talking about is being intentional with your time. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is not how much time they have, but how they use it. Most people waste hours every day on distractions, social media, pointless conversations, entertainment that does nothing for their future. Then they complain that they don't have time to learn, to grow, to develop new skills. But if you look at their daily habits, the truth is clear. They do have time, they just don't use it wisely. The most successful people in the world have a rule. They dedicate a portion of their day every single day to learning something new. It doesn't matter how busy they are. It doesn't matter how many responsibilities they have. They know that if they stop learning, they stop growing, and if they stop growing, they get left behind. This is the formula that keeps them ahead of 99% of people. They don't just consume information randomly, they have a system, and that's exactly what you need. Imagine if you dedicated just 30 minutes a day to intentional learning. That's all it takes. 30 minutes a day doesn't seem like much, but over time, it adds up. In a year, that's over 180 hours of education. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you spent 180 hours learning a high-income skill? What would happen if you spent 180 hours studying the psychology of success, mastering communication, or understanding financial growth? The answer is simple. Your life would change, your opportunities would increase, your income would rise, your confidence would skyrocket. But it all starts with how you use your time. Here's the thing, most people will hear this and still do nothing. They will agree that learning is important, they will feel motivated for a moment, but then they will go back to their old habits. And that is exactly why the majority of people stay average. They don't lack potential, they lack discipline. They lack the ability to stay consistent with their learning. And that is why the top 1% will always dominate. Because while everyone else is making excuses, they are putting in the work. But you're not like most people. You wouldn't be here if you were. You know that you are capable of more, and you're ready to take control of your future. So here's what you need to do. Right now, commit to setting aside time every single day for learning. Even if it's just 20-30 minutes. Even if you start small. The key is consistency. Over time, this simple habit will compound, and the results will be undeniable. You'll start to notice that your mindset is sharper. Your skills are stronger. Your opportunities are greater. And while everyone else is wondering why nothing in their life ever changes, you'll be too busy winning to even notice. The truth is, you don't need more time, you just need to use it better. You don't need a special talent, you just need a commitment to growth. The people who are truly successful are not the ones who were born with an advantage. They are the ones who decided, every single day, to become better than they were yesterday. And if you do the same, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. The world belongs to those who learn, those who adapt, those who refuse to settle. The question is, will you be one of them? Chapter 3. How to learn from books without wasting time. Every single successful person has one thing in common. They read. It's not a coincidence. It's not luck. It's not something they do just because they have extra time. It's a deliberate strategy. Reading is the fastest way to download decades of wisdom, experience, and expertise from the greatest minds in history. Imagine being able to sit down with a billionaire and pick his brain about success. Imagine learning directly from the most powerful leaders, the most brilliant thinkers, the most innovative entrepreneurs. That's what books allow you to do. But here's the problem. Most people read books the wrong way. They spend hours turning pages, but retain nothing. They finish a book and go back to their normal life, unchanged. And that's why reading alone isn't enough. If you don't know how to extract knowledge, apply it and use it to level up your life, then reading is just another form of entertainment. The people who get real results from books understand that reading isn't about collecting information, it's about transformation. It's not about how many books you read, but how much you apply. That's why someone who reads 10 books but applies every lesson will always be more successful than someone who reads 100 books but does nothing with them. The key is to approach reading like a weapon. Every book you pick up should be treated as a tool to upgrade your mind, sharpen your skills, and give you an advantage in life. That's how the top 1% read. They don't just consume books, they extract value from them, they make the ideas their own, and they use them to change their reality. If you've ever struggled with reading, if you've ever felt like books don't make a difference in your life, it's not because reading doesn't work. It's because you've never been taught how to read properly. You were taught to read for information, but not for action. You were taught to finish books, but not to absorb them. That stops today, because once you learn how to read in a way that actually improves your life, you will never go back to the old way. You will start seeing books as a secret weapon, a way to get ahead of 99% of people, while they waste time on things that don't matter. The first thing you need to understand is that not all books deserve your time. Just because a book is popular doesn't mean it's valuable. Just because a book is well written doesn't mean it's worth reading. The key is to be selective. The most successful people in the world don't waste time reading books that don't serve them. They focus on books that solve real problems, books that help them improve their skills, books that provide a roadmap to success. Before you start any book, ask yourself one question: how will this book improve my life? If you can't answer that, you're probably reading the wrong book. Now, once you've found the right book, the next step is to approach it with the right mindset. Too many people read passively. They turn pages, they highlight sentences, but they don't actively engage with the material. That's why they forget everything they read. The only way to make a book truly valuable is to interact with it. Write in the margins, take notes, question the ideas, challenge the author. The goal is not just to read the book, but to wrestle with the ideas inside it. That's how you make the knowledge stick. That's how you internalize the lessons and turn them into something you can actually use. Another mistake people make is trying to read too fast. There's a myth that the more books you read, the smarter you become. That's not true. Intelligence is not about how much information you consume. It's about how much you understand and apply. If you speed through books just to finish them, you're missing the point. A single book, read deeply and applied correctly, can change your life more than 100 books read superficially. The key is to slow down and focus on mastery. Instead of trying to finish a book as quickly as possible, try to extract every valuable insight from it. Treat each book like a training manual for your mind. Read it with the intention of changing the way you think and act. One of the most powerful strategies for retaining what you read is to teach it to someone else. The best way to learn something is to explain it. After you finish a chapter, try summarizing the main ideas in your own words. Imagine you had to teach the concepts to a friend. This forces you to process the information deeply and make it your own. If you can't explain what you just read, you don't truly understand it. That's why the best learners are also the best teachers. They don't just consume information, they actively use it, discuss it, and share it with others. But here's where most people fail. They read, they take notes, they get excited about new ideas, and then they do nothing. This is the biggest trap. If you read a book but don't apply what you learned, you just wasted your time. Knowledge without action is useless. If a book teaches you a new way to manage your time, apply it immediately. If it teaches you a strategy for making money, put it into practice. Don't just admire the ideas, implement them. The people who get the most out of books are the ones who turn knowledge into action. They don't wait. They don't hesitate. They read something valuable, and they immediately apply it to their life. That's why they get results. That's why they grow faster than everyone else. Imagine if for every book you read, you took just one powerful idea and applied it for 30 days. Imagine how much your life would change in a year. You would develop new habits, new skills, new perspectives. You would become the type of person who doesn't just learn, you evolve. That is what separates the top 1% from everyone else. They don't just read, they execute. They don't just collect information, they use it to gain an edge in life. So now you have a choice. You can continue reading books the way you always have, passively, without application, without real change, or you can decide that from this moment on, you will approach reading differently. You will treat every book like a tool for transformation. You will read with purpose, take action on what you learn, and use books as a weapon to dominate in life. Because the truth is, if you are not constantly upgrading your mind, you are falling behind. The world is evolving, the competition is getting smarter, and the opportunities are going to those who are prepared. The people who stay ahead are the ones who never stop learning. They don't just read for entertainment, they read to win, they read to gain an advantage. They read to stay sharp while everyone else gets comfortable. And that is why they succeed. Because while the majority of people waste time, they are building themselves into something greater. If you truly want to be in the top 1%, if you truly want to stay ahead of the world, then you have to make reading a weapon. You have to be relentless about learning, about growing, about applying knowledge in real life. Because at the end of the day, success is not about who is the smartest or who has the most natural talent. It's about who is willing to educate themselves every single day and use that knowledge to separate from the crowd. That's the mindset that will change your life. That's the approach that will keep you ahead of 99% of people. The question is, are you willing to read the right way? Are you willing to not just consume information, but master it? Because if you are, then there is no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 4. Learning from podcasts and audiobooks, your mobile university. Every single day you're surrounded by an opportunity that most people ignore. An opportunity that could completely change the way you think, the way you learn, and ultimately, the way you succeed. It's not locked away in some expensive course. It's not reserved for the ultra-rich or the highly educated. It's something you already have access to, but you're probably not using it to its full potential. It's your time. More specifically, the hidden hours of your day. The hours when you're commuting, when you're doing chores, when you're walking, exercising, or simply waiting for something. These are the moments when most people let their minds drift, wasting precious time on distractions, on pointless noise, on things that add nothing to their future. But the people who stay ahead, they turn these moments into their secret weapon. They use these pockets of time to educate themselves, to sharpen their minds, to absorb powerful ideas that give them an edge in life. And one of the best ways to do this, podcasts and audiobooks. You have to understand something. The way people learn has changed. It's no longer just about sitting down with a book or attending a class. We now live in a world where knowledge is everywhere, where you can access the insights of billionaires, the strategies of top performers, the mindset of the most successful people, all with the tap of a button. You can literally carry a world-class education in your pocket. And yet, most people still don't take advantage of it. They waste hours scrolling through social media, watching meaningless content, listening to music that doesn't add value to their lives. And then they wonder why they're not growing, why they're stuck, why nothing is changing. The reality is simple. If you are not intentionally feeding your mind with powerful knowledge, you are falling behind. Imagine this. Every single day, you wake up knowing that no matter where you go, no matter what you're doing, you're learning, you're growing, you're upgrading your thinking. While other people spend their morning listening to the same songs they've heard 100 times, You're absorbing life-changing insights from the greatest minds in history. While they waste time gossiping, you're studying the habits of high achievers. While they sit in traffic complaining about their job, you're learning the skills that will get you out of that job and into something better. This is the difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise. It's not about intelligence. It's not about luck. It's about how you use your time. Now, some people will say, "I don't have time to read books. I'm too busy to sit down and study." But that excuse doesn't work anymore. Because with podcasts and audiobooks, you don't need to set aside extra time to learn. You can integrate learning into your daily routine. You can learn while driving, while cooking, while working out, while doing anything that doesn't require full mental focus. And that's what makes this so powerful. It eliminates the excuse of "I don't have time" and replaces it with a simple question: are you using your time wisely? Because if you are not learning every single day, it's not a time problem, it's a priority problem. The best part: you get access to knowledge that was once impossible to reach. Think about it. A few decades ago, if you wanted to learn from a billionaire, you had to somehow meet one in person. Good luck with that. If you wanted to understand the mindset of elite performers, you had to be in the right circles, have the right connections. But today, you can plug in your earphones and learn directly from them. You can hear their thoughts, their strategies, their experiences, as if they were mentoring you personally. You don't need to be in the same room. You don't need to be rich. You just need the willingness to listen. And that's where the real shift happens. The moment you start replacing low-value content with high-value learning, everything changes. Your mindset changes. Your decisions change. Your confidence grows. Because suddenly, you're not just consuming random entertainment, you're absorbing the mindset of winners. You're training your brain to think like a high performer. And over time, that rewires you completely. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start thinking strategically instead of reacting emotionally. You start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts success, because your mind has been shaped by success. Now here's the key. It's not enough to just listen. Listening alone won't change your life. Just like reading a book without applying it won't make you smarter. The real impact comes when you take what you learn and actually use it. So every time you listen to a powerful podcast or an audiobook, don't just let it go in one ear and out the other. Take notes. Write down key insights. Ask yourself, how can I use this today? Because the difference between those who grow and those who stay the same is not just what they consume, it's what they implement. Imagine if every single week you listened to just one audiobook. That's 52 books a year. Do you know how much knowledge that is? Do you know how much wisdom you would have compared to the average person? Imagine if every morning, instead of listening to music or the news, you listened to 30 minutes of a life-changing podcast. That's over 180 hours of learning every year, without spending a single extra second of your time. If you do this consistently, within a year, you will be unrecognizable. Your thinking will be sharper. Your skills will be stronger. Your perspective will be completely transformed. And that's exactly why the people at the top stay at the top. They don't just consume entertainment, they consume knowledge. They don't just listen to noise, they listen to wisdom. They know that the mind is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And the people who train their minds every single day, they become unstoppable. Right now you have a choice. You can keep doing what you've always done, wasting hours on distractions, letting your mind be filled with whatever the world throws at you. Or you can take control. You can decide that from this moment on, every spare minute you have will be dedicated to growth. You can turn your daily routine into a learning machine. You can make your car, your home, your gym, your commute, your personal university. And once you do that, you will never go back, because the results will speak for themselves. You will start thinking differently, moving differently, operating at a level that most people can't even comprehend. The people who win in life are not the ones who have the most resources. They are the ones who make the best use of what they have. And right now, you have unlimited access to knowledge. You have the ability to learn from the best minds on the planet, anytime, anywhere. The question is, are you using it? Are you taking advantage of the greatest educational tool in history? Or are you letting it slip away while you waste time on things that don't matter? Because the truth is, the difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not luck. It's not talent. It's how they spend their time. And if you start using your time wisely, if you start filling your mind with powerful knowledge every single day, then success is not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. Chapter 5: YouTube and Online Courses. The Right Way to Learn Skills. Success isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build, brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice. And in today's world, the difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck isn't just about hard work, it's about how smart you are with your learning. Every skill you need, every advantage you want, every single tool that can elevate your life is already available. The real question is, are you using it the right way? Because in this era, information is everywhere, but most people are drowning in it instead of mastering it. Right now, you can go on YouTube and find tutorials on almost anything. You can learn to code, build a business, master marketing, get in shape, develop leadership skills, or even understand psychology, all for free. But here's the brutal truth: just because information is available doesn't mean people are using it correctly. The majority are stuck in an endless loop of consuming, watching, scrolling, and feeling like they're learning, but never actually growing. They tell themselves, "I'm researching, I'm preparing, I'm gathering information," but in reality, they're stuck in passive learning. They collect knowledge like trophies, but they never step into action. And that's exactly why they don't move forward. If you're watching endless videos, taking courses, reading books, but not seeing real results in your life, then you need to understand something critical. Learning is not about how much you consume, it's about how much you apply. You don't need another course. You don't need another 10-hour video breakdown. What you need is execution. The people who get ahead aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who do the most with what they know. They don't waste time watching every single tutorial on success. They take what they learn and immediately put it into action. Imagine someone who wants to start a business but keeps watching videos on how to start a business for months. They take notes, analyze trends, compare strategies, but they never actually take the first step. Then there's another person who watches one solid video, takes a few key lessons, and immediately starts testing, failing, adjusting, and improving. A year later, the first person is still getting ready, while the second person has already built something. That's the difference between those who win and those who stay stuck. Action beats endless preparation every single time. YouTube and online courses can be powerful tools, but only if you know how to use them the right way. The problem is, most people treat learning like entertainment. They click on one video, then another, chasing that temporary dopamine hit of feeling productive without actually doing anything. They trick themselves into thinking that watching successful people will somehow make them successful. But success isn't contagious. It's earned through effort. Watching someone else do something won't give you results. You have to step in and do it yourself. So how do you break out of this cycle? How do you stop wasting time and start using online learning as a real tool for transformation? First, you need to set a rule for yourself. For every piece of content you consume, you must take action on at least one thing. If you watch a video on improving focus, apply one technique that same day. If you take a course on sales, implement what you learn in a real conversation. If you read about building confidence, practice it in a social setting. Don't wait, don't overthink, just act. Because the moment you start applying knowledge, that's when it truly becomes yours. Next, you have to cut out the noise. Not all content is created equal. There's a massive difference between watching something that actually teaches you a skill and watching something that just makes you feel inspired for a few minutes. Motivation is great, but it fades. Skills and habits stay with you, so instead of jumping from one video to the next, choose wisely. Follow content that gives you direct, practical steps, not just vague advice. If a video doesn't teach you something you can immediately use, skip it. Be ruthless with your time. Because every second you waste on content that doesn't serve you is a second you could have spent building your future. Another powerful strategy is learning in cycles. Instead of constantly consuming new information, go back and review what you've already learned. Repetition is the key to mastery. Most people forget 90% of what they watch or read within a few days because they never revisit it. But the top performers, they don't just learn something once and move on. They study it, they practice it, they refine it until it becomes second nature. If you want to get ahead, don't just learn, obsess over mastery. Go deep instead of wide. It's better to deeply understand and apply a few critical skills than to have surface-level knowledge of everything. And here's something most people don't realize. Success is not about knowing the most, it's about knowing the right things. In a world overloaded with information, your ability to filter out what actually matters is one of the most valuable skills you can have. The truth is, you don't need to learn everything. You just need to learn what will move the needle in your life. If you want to be financially free, study money and business, not random entertainment. If you want to be in top physical shape, study nutrition and exercise, not endless fitness trends. If you want to build confidence, study communication and psychology, not feel-good motivational speeches that don't give you real techniques. At the end of the day, online learning is like a weapon. It can be the greatest tool you've ever had, or it can be the biggest distraction keeping you stuck. The difference comes down to how you use it. The people who stay ahead don't just consume, they create. They don't just learn, they implement. They don't just plan, they execute. And if you make the decision today to stop passively consuming and start actively applying, your entire trajectory will change. You won't just be another person who knows a lot. You'll be one of the few who actually does something with it. Every single minute you spend watching, reading, or studying without applying is time wasted. But every single minute you spend learning and immediately taking action is an investment in your future. So the next time you catch yourself stuck in another endless loop of tutorials, courses, or motivational videos, stop. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can take from this and use right now? Then do it. Because the moment you shift from just learning to actually doing, that's when everything in your life will start to transform. Chapter 6. The 5 high-value skills that will always be in demand. Your success is directly tied to the skills you develop. In a world that's changing faster than ever, The people who win are the ones who master high-value skills that will always be in demand, no matter how much technology advances or industries shift. If you want to stay ahead, you can't rely on what you learned in school. You can't sit back and hope that your current knowledge will be enough. The world doesn't reward people for what they used to know. It rewards those who can adapt, learn, and execute better than anyone else. Look around, and you'll see it happening everywhere. The people who thrive aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who understand what the market values. They focus on skills that make them indispensable. They know that job security doesn't come from a degree or a title. It comes from being the kind of person that businesses, clients, and customers can't afford to ignore. If you have skills that solve problems, make money, or create opportunities, you will always be ahead. If you don't, you'll always be struggling to catch up. Think about the people who struggle financially or feel stuck in life. It's not because they aren't working hard, it's because they haven't developed the right skills. Hard work alone isn't enough anymore. You could work 16-hour days doing something that isn't valuable, and it still wouldn't move you forward. The market doesn't pay for effort, it pays for results, and results come from mastering the right skills. The good news: you can start developing these skills today. You don't need a fancy education. You don't need connections. You just need to make the decision to level up and commit to the process of learning, practicing, and applying what actually matters. One of the most powerful skills you can have is communication. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what career path you choose, your ability to communicate effectively will determine how far you go. This isn't just about public speaking. It's about how well you sell your ideas, how well you persuade, how well you build relationships, how well you negotiate, and how well you lead. The people who make the most money, close the biggest deals, and create the biggest impact are always the best communicators. If you can speak with confidence, write with clarity, and influence people with your words, you will always have an advantage. Another high-value skill that separates the winners from everyone else is sales. And don't make the mistake of thinking sales only applies to people in business. Sales is everything. Whether you're convincing someone to hire you, negotiating a better salary, pitching an idea, attracting customers, or even persuading someone to see your point of view, you're selling. The ability to sell is the ability to control your own future. If you can sell, you will never be broke. If you can't, you'll always be dependent on someone else to give you opportunities. Then there's problem solving. The people who rise to the top in any industry are the ones who can think critically, adapt to challenges, and come up with solutions when no one else can. Businesses don't pay for people who just follow orders. They pay for people who can solve real problems. The better you are at analyzing situations, finding solutions, and making smart decisions, the more valuable you become. And in today's world, digital skills are non-negotiable. AI, automation, and technology are changing everything. The people who understand how to leverage digital tools, analyze data, and use technology to their advantage will always be ahead. Whether it's coding, digital marketing, content creation, or data analysis, having strong digital skills means you're future-proofing yourself. You don't have to be an expert in everything, but you do need to be comfortable using technology to create value. Then there's leadership, the ability to take initiative, inspire people, and make things happen. Leadership isn't just for managers or CEOs. If you can take responsibility, guide people, and make tough decisions, you become the kind of person that others want to follow. Leaders don't wait for permission. They don't sit around hoping for things to change. They take action. They create opportunities. They bring out the best in themselves and the people around them. That's why leadership is one of the most in-demand skills in every industry. So the question isn't whether you should develop these skills. The question is, are you willing to put in the time and effort to master them? Because here's the truth. Most people won't. Most people will keep doing what's comfortable. They'll keep telling themselves they don't have time, that it's too hard, or that they don't know where to start. And that's exactly why most people stay stuck. They never make the decision to level up. But if you're serious about getting ahead, you need to do what others won't. You need to invest in yourself. You need to commit to learning something valuable every single day, and more importantly, applying it. The world rewards those who can bring value, and value comes from mastering skills that solve problems, generate results, and make an impact. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to be naturally gifted. You just have to be relentless in your pursuit of growth. Because the people who get ahead are the ones who take control of their learning, take action on what they learn, and refuse to settle for being average. Chapter 7. Digital and AI Literacy, the future-proofing skill. The future is happening right now, and it's not waiting for you to catch up. The world is shifting faster than ever, and if you don't understand the technology driving this change, you're going to get left behind. Digital literacy and AI understanding are no longer just nice-to-haves. They're non-negotiable if you want to stay relevant, successful, and ahead of the pack. If you've ever felt that nagging sense of uncertainty about how to navigate the new technological landscape, it's time to stop worrying and start learning. You don't have to become a tech expert overnight, but you do need to understand how digital tools work and how artificial intelligence is shaping everything from business to personal life. You've probably heard a lot about AI in the news, whether it's about self-driving cars, smart assistants, or algorithms predicting the future. But the truth is, most people still don't understand the power of AI, and they certainly don't know how to harness it for their own success. That's a huge advantage if you're someone who's committed to educating yourself every day and staying ahead of 99% of people. While most people are still figuring out how to use the basic tools of the digital age, you can be the person who's already leveraging AI to make better decisions, create smarter strategies, and develop skills that will future-proof your career. If you don't understand AI yet, that's okay. But you need to get ahead of the curve. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. At first it feels awkward, and you may fall a few times, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. The key is starting now, not waiting for the world to pass you by. AI is not some distant technology that's only for Silicon Valley geeks. It's already a part of your life, whether you realize it or not. Every time you use a recommendation system on Netflix, Amazon, or YouTube, you're interacting with artificial intelligence. Every time you ask Siri or Google Assistant a question, you're using AI. It's in your phone, in your car, in your home, and it's rapidly becoming a part of the workplace. The question isn't whether AI will affect you, it's how well you can use it to improve your life and your work. One of the most powerful things about AI is its ability to enhance human decision-making. Think about how businesses use AI to analyze vast amounts of data and make predictions. AI can sift through information faster and more accurately than any human could, and it can recognize patterns that are invisible to the naked eye. But here's the thing, AI needs direction. It needs humans to teach it, guide it, and make decisions based on the data it provides. And this is where you come in. As a human, you have the ability to think creatively, understand context, and make ethical decisions, skills that AI can't replicate. But when you combine your unique abilities with the power of AI, you can accomplish things that would be impossible on your own. AI is like a powerful tool, but it's up to you to wield it effectively. In the workplace, AI is already transforming industries. If you're a marketer, AI is changing how you analyze consumer behavior and create targeted campaigns. If you're a financial analyst, AI is helping you predict market trends and optimize investment strategies. If you're a designer, AI is making it easier to create stunning visuals and even generating design ideas based on user preferences. In fact, AI is so integral to modern business that many companies are now seeking employees who are proficient in AI and data analysis. Whether you're in tech, healthcare, finance, or any other field, understanding AI will give you a significant edge. But here's the catch: you can't just understand the basics. You need to be able to apply it, think critically about its potential, and recognize the opportunities it offers. Imagine being able to automate repetitive tasks in your job, freeing up time to focus on more creative and strategic work. Imagine using AI to help you analyze data and uncover insights that would take you weeks to discover on your own. Imagine leveraging AI to improve your decision-making so you're always a step ahead of your competition. This is the power of AI, and it's available to you right now. The best part is that you don't need to be a software engineer to get started. There are plenty of AI tools that are designed to be user-friendly and accessible to people from all backgrounds. Whether you want to improve your productivity, learn new skills, or take your career to the next level, AI can be the key to unlocking your full potential. But as with any technology, there are challenges and ethical considerations that come with AI. One of the most pressing concerns is how AI can impact jobs and industries. While AI can certainly create new opportunities, it can also displace workers who aren't equipped with the skills to work alongside it. This is why digital literacy is so important. If you want to ensure that you're not left behind, you need to actively educate yourself on how AI is affecting your industry and how you can adapt. The people who get ahead are the ones who understand the changes happening in their field and position themselves to take advantage of them. If you wait for AI to replace your job, it might be too late to make a comeback. But if you take control of your learning and start using AI as a tool to amplify your own skills, you'll stay relevant no matter what. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the rapid pace of technological change, but the key to staying ahead is to break it down into manageable steps. Start small. Begin by learning about the AI tools that are most relevant to your field. Experiment with AI-powered apps and platforms to see how they can improve your productivity. Take online courses or attend webinars to build your understanding of AI and how it's used in your industry. The more you learn, the more confident you'll become, and the better equipped you'll be to leverage AI to your advantage. As you embark on this journey, remember that AI is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's not going to take away your job, it's going to make you better at it. With the right mindset and the right tools, you can use AI to enhance your skills, increase your value, and future-proof your career. The future is not coming for you, it's coming for everyone. The question is, will you be ready? Chapter 8. Stop consuming. Start applying. Success is built on action, not just knowledge. We live in a time where information is at our fingertips, available anytime, anywhere. But here's the truth. Learning without application is like collecting tools without ever building anything. It's like filling your toolbox to the brim, but never constructing a thing with it. Imagine how many people you know who read books, attend seminars, or watch countless videos, yet still seem stuck in the same place year after year. That's because they failed to apply what they learn. Knowledge alone isn't power. It's the application of knowledge that transforms lives. And if you want to be the kind of person who doesn't just learn but grows, then you need to stop consuming information passively and start applying it actively. Think about how many times you've been inspired by a book or a podcast, only to have that initial spark of motivation fade away as soon as you get busy with the day-to-day grind. It's frustrating, right? You read something powerful and it feels like it will change everything for you, but then you go on autopilot and fall back into old habits. What happens in those moments is that you're consuming information but not letting it sink in and transform your thinking. You're filling your brain with facts, but you're not creating space for those facts to change how you act or think. If you really want to advance, it's crucial to take your learning one step further. It's about using what you learn in a practical, actionable way. Let's take a minute to consider a simple truth. Learning without doing is pointless. When you listen to a podcast, read an article, or watch a tutorial, you need to ask yourself, how can I implement this today? The idea is to make every piece of knowledge actionable. When you learn a new skill or discover a new strategy, it shouldn't just be a mental note to file away for later. The sooner you apply it, the more likely you are to internalize it and truly benefit from it. If you wait until tomorrow, you'll find that the energy you had for change has dissipated. The key to real transformation is making use of knowledge as soon as it enters your brain. But how do you apply what you learn in a world where everything moves so fast, where distractions are endless, and where time always seems to slip away? First, it's about shifting your mindset. You need to make a commitment to yourself that you won't simply be a passive consumer of information, but an active participant in your own learning journey. This means embracing the idea of learning by doing. No more waiting for the perfect moment or perfect conditions to start applying what you know. The perfect moment is right now. The perfect conditions, they don't exist. What exists is the power of your decision to act on the information you have today. Think about any time you've learned a new skill. Whether it was a technical skill like coding, a new language, or a creative endeavor like writing or painting, the moment you saw results was when you started doing it, not just thinking about it. Even if you make mistakes, even if things don't turn out exactly as you planned, the key is that you're learning in real time. Mistakes aren't failures, they're part of the process. They're signs that you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and testing new things. Every mistake is a step forward if you use it as a learning opportunity. The worst thing you can do is nothing at all. This is where discipline comes in. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of learning and start consuming content endlessly, but without taking action, all that content is just mental clutter. To make the most of your learning, set aside time every day to apply something you've learned. It doesn't have to be a massive project every time. It can be as simple as making one decision based on what you've learned, or incorporating one new tactic into your daily routine. But whatever you do, make sure you're doing something with the knowledge you've gained. When you apply what you've learned, you're not just reinforcing your memory, you're creating new neural pathways that make the knowledge stick and help it become a permanent part of who you are. Real growth happens when knowledge becomes behavior. The true test of how much you've learned is whether you've integrated that learning into your actions, decisions, and habits. We're not meant to be passive consumers of information. We're meant to be active creators, builders, and doers. That's how progress happens. If you can shift your mindset from passive consumption to active application, you'll start seeing growth in ways you never thought possible. But this requires constant vigilance. You have to be aware of when you're slipping into the trap of mindless consumption. It's so easy to get lost in a never-ending loop of absorbing information, thinking that it will somehow make you smarter or more successful. But it's not enough to just fill your brain with knowledge. You need to let that knowledge drive you to take action. If you want to level up, here's what you need to do. Take a piece of knowledge you've learned today and apply it right away. It doesn't matter if you're trying to learn a new business strategy, improve your fitness, or become better at managing your time. The application is what makes the knowledge real. So when you hear a new idea that excites you, don't wait. Use it in the next hour. If you read a great tip for time management, implement it immediately. If you hear an inspiring story of success, think about how you can incorporate some of the same habits or strategies into your own life. The difference between the successful and the stagnant is often this: one group consumes information and the other acts on it. Think of the people you admire, the ones who are always moving forward, constantly growing. What do they do differently? They apply what they learn. They experiment with new ideas. They take risks, make adjustments, and keep evolving. They understand that learning is a dynamic, ongoing process. You're not meant to just gather knowledge. You're meant to put it into practice, refine it, and evolve as a result. Knowledge without application is wasted potential. You have an incredible opportunity right now to start turning your learning into action. Every single piece of knowledge you've accumulated can be used to improve your life in some way. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect circumstances. Take what you know today and use it. And then when tomorrow comes, use what you've learned today to learn something new. It's an ongoing cycle, a process of constant action and improvement, and it's what will set you apart from everyone else who's just sitting back, consuming without ever doing. The world rewards action. The world rewards those who take what they learn and use it to move forward. Are you ready to be one of those people? Chapter 9. The 1% Notebook. How to retain and use what you learn. The greatest obstacle between you and your success is not a lack of information. It's not the tools, the strategies, or even the goals you set. The true challenge is the ability to take everything you're learning and keep it with you, so you can actually use it to make the impact you want. Imagine you read a life-changing book or listen to a podcast that sparks a new idea. You're excited, motivated, and ready to take action. But then, a few days later, you can barely recall the key lessons. The energy fades, and the ideas seem like distant memories. The difference between people who thrive and those who don't is simple. It's the ability to remember and use what they've learned. We all know that feeling. You read something inspiring or hear a quote that seems like it could change your life, but soon enough it slips away like water through your fingers. This is where having a powerful system to retain and use what you learn becomes crucial. You need something more than just the occasional aha moment. You need to turn that knowledge into a lasting part of your life, something you can apply every day, not just when you're in the mood to think about it. The simple truth is this: your ability to remember and utilize knowledge determines how much progress you make in your life. And without a reliable system to retain what you learn, your growth will always be limited. This is why it's time to create your own 1% notebook. This isn't just about jotting down random notes in a diary. It's a method, a strategy, designed to help you retain what you learn and apply it with precision. You can't just consume information passively and expect it to stay with you. You need a system to actively absorb it and process it. This notebook becomes your trusted companion, your personal knowledge vault. It's where you capture the key ideas, the critical lessons, the quotes and strategies that can propel you forward. But here's the catch. It's not just about writing things down. It's about making sure those notes are meaningful to you and, more importantly, usable. Here's what most people do. They take notes, scribble down things they find interesting, and think that's enough. But in reality, if you're just writing things down and never looking back at them, you're missing the point entirely. The power of a notebook lies in its ability to be revisited, reflected on, and connected to real-life actions. This is how you lock knowledge into your memory and make it part of your everyday experience. The first step is to make sure your notes are actionable. What's the point of writing something down if it's not going to help you take the next step in your life? Instead of just summarizing what you've read or heard, ask yourself, how can I use this today? When you go through a book or listen to a podcast, it's not enough to just think about how cool the ideas are. You need to challenge yourself. How can I apply this right now? When you're taking notes, don't just jot down words and phrases. Write down how this information changes the way you think, or how you can use it to solve a problem you're facing. Connect the dots between the knowledge and the actions you can take. As you go through this process, you'll notice something powerful happens. You stop seeing learning as a one-time event and start seeing it as an ongoing process. You begin to realize that every piece of information is part of a larger puzzle. And with your notebook, you'll have the pieces ready to fit together when the time comes. But retaining knowledge isn't just about writing it down, it's about review. Think of the way you learn a language. You don't just learn a word once and then forget it. You revisit it over and over again until it becomes part of your vocabulary. The same goes for the knowledge you accumulate. Your 1% notebook is meant to be a tool for constant review. At the end of each day, take a moment to look over your notes. Don't just skim through them, reflect on them. Think about how you can apply each lesson. This process ensures that the knowledge isn't just floating in your mind. It's rooted deeply inside you, ready to be activated whenever you need it. The more you use this notebook, the more you'll see how your thoughts begin to shift. The ideas you jot down will start to become habits, and those habits will change your life. It's not about learning more, it's about learning better. Each note you take is like planting a seed. But just like any plant, you have to nurture it, give it attention, and make sure it gets the light it needs to grow. As you continue this process, you'll find that your ability to remember and use what you learn will grow exponentially. You'll start applying the lessons from your notebook to solve real-world challenges, making those ideas work for you. The real magic happens when you stop just learning and start truly internalizing knowledge. This isn't about being a passive consumer anymore. This is about taking action on what you know and making that action a regular part of your life. The 1% notebook is designed to be your constant companion in this journey. It's not just a place to write things down, it's a tool to shape who you are, what you do, and how you think. Over time, you'll notice that you don't just know things, you live them. And that's when everything starts to change. It doesn't matter how many books you read or how many podcasts you listen to if you're not using that knowledge to shape your life. That's why the 1% notebook isn't just about retention, it's about action. It's about transforming knowledge into wisdom and wisdom into results. So every time you learn something, think to yourself, how can I take this one step further? How can I use this today, right now? The more you do this, the more you'll see that your learning isn't just about gathering information. It's about building a life of purpose, discipline, and real tangible results. At the end of the day, the most successful people aren't the ones with the most knowledge, They're the ones who know how to use what they learn. The 1% notebook is your key to ensuring that the knowledge you accumulate doesn't just slip away into the ether. It becomes your tool for action, reflection, and growth. When you start using this system consistently, you'll begin to notice a profound shift in your life. Your confidence will grow, your productivity will increase, and your results will speak for themselves. So pick up that notebook, start writing, start applying, and watch how your life transforms. The only question now is, are you ready to take what you've learned and turn it into the life you've always wanted? Chapter 10. Thinking critically. Avoiding misinformation and bad advice. The world is filled with noise, opinions, half-truths, misleading headlines, and stories crafted to shape your beliefs. Most people blindly follow what they hear without ever stopping to think. Is this true? Is this actually useful? It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of information that's constantly coming at you. But here's the secret. Critical thinking is the key to rising above the chaos. The truth is, if you don't learn how to think for yourself, you'll never be able to separate the valuable from the noise. You won't be able to discern the difference between good advice and bad, between what actually helps you and what only serves to distract you. What separates the successful from the mediocre is often not talent, luck, or connections. It's the ability to think critically, the ability to pause and reflect before acting, to question the information that is given to you and make decisions based on logic and reason, not impulse or what everyone else is doing. This ability to think critically is what will set you apart in a world that's designed to pull you in a million directions. It's not just about processing information, it's about being able to filter it, evaluate it, and decide how to use it in your life in a way that actually makes a difference. Critical thinking is not just an abstract concept, it's a practical skill you can develop. And it's not just about being able to read between the lines of a news article or spotting logical fallacies in a conversation. It's about questioning everything, the advice you hear, the choices you make, and the information you're constantly being bombarded with. It's about looking deeper and understanding the why behind the things you do. What are the motivations behind what's being presented to you? Who benefits from this information, and what might they be leaving out? In the world we live in, misinformation is everywhere. It's easy to fall victim to it if you don't develop the habit of questioning everything you consume. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself believing something that turned out to be false? How many headlines have you clicked on, only to find that they were designed to get your attention and nothing more? Our minds are wired to accept information that fits our pre-existing beliefs or feels good to hear. But critical thinking teaches you to step back, assess the facts, and make informed decisions. It's about rejecting the surface-level noise and digging deeper into what truly matters. The problem is that most people never stop to question what they're being told. They take everything at face value and move on with their lives, thinking they know everything they need to know. But the truth is, the moment you stop questioning is the moment you stop growing. If you can't challenge your own beliefs and assumptions, how can you expect to ever move forward? How can you ever make the right choices? The moment you begin questioning everything, whether it's the latest self-help guru's advice, the political narrative in the news, or even the things your friends tell you, you're already on the path to greater success. So how do you actually start practicing critical thinking? It's about building a habit. Start by questioning everything you read, hear, or see. Don't just accept it as truth because it's convenient or because it fits into your worldview. Ask yourself, what's the source of this information? What's their agenda? What might they be leaving out? What other perspectives exist? This is where most people fail. They don't seek alternative viewpoints. They don't think about the underlying reasons behind the information presented to them. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want to rise above the 99% who are mindlessly consuming, you have to learn how to evaluate and challenge what you hear. But don't stop there. Once you begin questioning the information, the next step is to separate fact from opinion. Facts are objective. They're based on evidence and verifiable data. Opinions, on the other hand, are subjective, and they can be influenced by personal biases, emotions, or even manipulation. In today's world, it's easy to confuse the two. Social media platforms, news outlets, and even influencers are constantly mixing fact with opinion to push their own narratives. Critical thinking means you know how to identify what's actually factual and what's just someone's interpretation of the facts. Once you know the difference, you can make better informed decisions that aren't based on someone else's biased perspective. One of the most important aspects of critical thinking is being aware of cognitive biases. Our minds are full of shortcuts, mental patterns that help us make quick decisions. While these shortcuts can be useful, they often lead us to make poor judgments. Confirmation bias, for example, is the tendency to only seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs. If you've ever found yourself agreeing with something just because it aligns with what you already thought, you've experienced confirmation bias. Critical thinking teaches you to be aware of these biases so you can make more objective decisions. It helps you recognize when you're being influenced by your emotions or your past experiences, and it allows you to step back and consider the bigger picture. This is why it's so important to take the time to evaluate everything you learn and come across. Critical thinking doesn't just happen on its own. You have to actively choose to be skeptical, to dig deeper, and to ask the right questions. It's a skill that grows stronger the more you use it, and it's one of the most powerful tools you can develop in today's information-overloaded world. The more you practice it, the more you'll see through the noise and start making smarter decisions in every area of your life. The ability to think critically also helps you avoid the trap of following the crowd. It's easy to get swept up in trends or opinions just because everyone else is doing it. But true growth happens when you stop listening to the opinions of the masses and start listening to your own voice. When you can think for yourself and evaluate information based on your own understanding, you're no longer controlled by outside forces. You become the master of your own decisions, your own beliefs, and your own future. Critical thinking also helps you separate the truth from the hype. In today's world, it's easy to be misled by catchy headlines, flashy promises, or exaggerated claims. Whether it's the latest miracle diet, an investment scheme that promises massive returns, or the newest trend in self-improvement, there's always something out there trying to grab your attention. But with critical thinking, you can learn to see beyond the marketing and evaluate whether these promises are actually worth your time and energy. And here's the most powerful part of it all: when you master critical thinking, you unlock your ability to learn from anything. You stop depending on one source or one viewpoint to guide you, and you start seeking out multiple perspectives. You develop the ability to learn from people, from books, from podcasts, from your own experiences, and you do so with a level of awareness that most people lack. This is the power of critical thinking. It allows you to take in knowledge from everywhere, sift through it, and decide what's worth applying to your life. You stop being a passive consumer of information, and you become an active participant in shaping your own future. Critical thinking is the ultimate skill you need to stay ahead of the game. It's what separates those who succeed from those who get lost in the noise. If you want to become someone who takes control of their life, someone who's always one step ahead, you need to develop the habit of thinking critically about everything that comes your way. Stop accepting things at face value. Question everything, analyze it, and use your newfound insights to make better decisions. Once you master this skill, you'll be able to navigate the world with confidence, clarity, and purpose. And that's when you'll truly be ahead of 99% of people.